What's up, guys? Back in the basement. If you were starting a crypto portfolio in 2024, what should you do? Well, I'm going to tell you guys what I would do because I was in this situation in 2020. I started investing into crypto in 2021, but I was researching the market in 2020. Even though the bull market took place in 2021, all that research I did in 2020 put me steps ahead of most people who were freaking out and depending on other people for what's a good pick and what's a bad pick. Whether you're going to be a new investor in 2024 or you're an experienced investor who wants to get better, fix some mistakes you made this year or last year, or you want to put yourself in a better moving card to really set yourself up in 2025, this video is going to help you out massively. I really wish I had a video like this on YouTube when I first got onto crypto, but unfortunately I didn't. I had to learn the hard way. My brother and I started researching every single day. Every single morning at breakfast, we always talked about different cryptos, different picks, different news we heard. So the first thing I want to ask you if you're new is, what is your goal with crypto? Do you want to supplement your current income with your job? Do you want to eventually leave your job? Do you want to make millions, or do you want to just maybe have an education fund for your kids? How old are you? Do you have a lot of time to invest? How much money are you working with? If you don't have a lot of money, which I'm assuming you probably don't, because I don't. I mean, I live at home. I'm trying to move out next year, but the reason why I haven't moved out yet is because I want to have more cash flow to invest. But if you're in the same situation, say you're young, you have more risk tolerance, well, how much money can you invest per month in a market? If you could only invest upwards of maybe 100 to maybe 1,000 per month, you probably don't want to have 20, 30 crypto. You want to pick maybe, two, three, four, five, or whatever you feel is best for you. Personally, when I invest into crypto, I always start with one or two max. And I invest, I build the bag up, and then once I feel secure, I move on to the next. So for me, right, I'm gonna tell you guys how I got into the market. I got in from Dogecoin. I was at a party for my brother's friend. They graduated college years ago, and I saw someone on Robinhood. The Robinhood app is a stocks app, right? And they were looking at Dogecoin. I'm like, oh, what is that? And they said, oh, meme coin. And then she told me what crypto was, and I started researching it. And then, sure enough, my first two crypto was Dogecoin and Ethereum. I was told Ethereum was the next Bitcoin, even though it's not Bitcoin. It's totally different. But I was told it was great. I bought it. I bought Dogecoin, and then from there, I got hooked and I researched. So the first thing I want to tell you is what got you into the market. If it's a meme coin, recognize it for what it is, a lottery play, a popularity play. Don't go heavy into it. I soon, shortly after buying Dogecoin, sold it and ended up buying more Ethereum. So we usually make a lot of mistakes early, but if you're trying to expedite yourself and you're trying to do this research now, so in 2024 you're more mistake free, this is where you got to understand trends and what's a good pick and what's not a good pick. So for me, if you're looking at me, right, I'm a utility-based investor. I like where I can envision a future where crypto gets adopted and where crypto gets used to a high extent. And so for that reason, I'm very bullish on layer ones, which are blockchains. I'm very bullish on ISO cryptos, which are working with the banks. Some call them banker coins. I like Web3, which I can kind of see as an visionary in the future, more focused on a decentralized web, whether it be securing data, securing information, blockchain gaming. There's so many different niches in the market. So this requires a lot of research on your end. Do you want to invest into an ecosystem like a layer one? Do you want to invest into a scaling solution like a layer two? Do you want to invest into a Web3 space, blockchain gaming, interoperability, metaverse, AI? So there's a lot of different sectors in crypto. So you don't want to overwhelm yourself. That's why I always say start with one. Most people start with Bitcoin, or they start with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then they go down the list because they're the most easy investments, especially if you have no knowledge of crypto, you don't have any risk tolerance. You just set it, forget it, and you go about your day. So if you have 5, 10 plus years, you don't care about being rich, you just want to make a lot of money, but you don't want to be a multi-millionaire, then investing into a crypto like Bitcoin is a sure bet to get there, in my opinion. I think Bitcoin is the safest pick, hands down. I don't think it's changing anytime soon. There's no one to change the code for it. It's proof of work, not proof of stake. It's not a company. Proof of stake cryptos are just that. They're companies, sort of like stocks. They have a CEO, someone got a CFO, they got a team, they got developers, they got marketers. It's very different. Proof of work usually has a founder that's sometimes anonymous. They might have a couple developers, a few developers, and that's it. That's really it. So It's very different depending on which investment you get into. But if you're trying to increase your income, what job do you work right now? Can you work overtime? My job, I can work as much overtime as I want, pretty much. So I oftentimes do that. If you can't, how can you increase your income in other areas? Can you start a side hustle? And if you're looking for side hustle examples, I know they're not glamorous, but you can be a waiter, waitress at a restaurant on the weekends. You can be, I don't know, an Uber driver. You can be, I mean, a bartender's okay. Just don't drink all the drinks. If you're trying to just make tips, whatever. Maybe work for Amazon or something that gets your cash flow up. Even it can even be like selling stuff you don't need in your house. Or maybe you go on Fiverr, which is like an entrepreneur website. Maybe you're good at thumbnails. You're good at, I don't know, photography, some skills where you can just market your skills for a little bit, start a side hustle. So there's many ways to make some money on the side. You just got to do a little research, find out what you're good at, and you can do it. It's obviously a lot easier if your job allows overtime because you just can stay at your job longer. For me, the hardest part with overtime is just being awake the next day. I feel very tired. So sometimes I do scale it back. But times like this, where I see Bitcoin 26K, where I see discounts like this is where I try to work more overtime so I can buy more crypto. So increasing your active income is definitely the best way to go about really getting your money out there in the market. So if you're cashing up right now in preparation for 2024, I would definitely do this. Try to get like 10K plus built up if you can. Obviously, do as much as you can, because you want to have some cash flow ready to deploy in 2024. You don't want to do it all at once. I know some people like doing lump sums. I do what's called dollar cost averaging, where I buy every week, every 2 weeks, or once a month, whatever's a good schedule for you. And I just buy on autopilot. I buy discounted cryptos that I'm researching, that I'm bullish on, and I just keep going about it until I feel confident in that bag, and then I move on to something else. But like I said before, maybe you just want to invest into Bitcoin, and that's totally fine with you. Or maybe you want to take the reverse approach and invest into only altcoins and get more of a higher reward play, but also are okay with that risk because you don't care about your money going to zero because it's money you're willing to lose, right? So if you can increase your active income, this is where I also employ you to work on cutting back your expenses. So if you're watching Netflix all the time, Hulu all the time, or cable, TV, or you're going out with your buddies drinking all the time, you're going out with your girls, you're buying clothes, you're buying shoes, or you're going out with your friggin', I don't know, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and all you guys are doing is just going on dates all the time, you're going on 5 vacations a year, you're a travel blogger, whatever the case may be, can you look to cut back on that? Are you buying a luxury car you don't need? Can you get a cheaper car and not have a car payment? Do you have a very expensive phone that you can maybe downgrade? Do you have a very expensive high-rise apartment or condo that you can look to get like a cheaper place? There's many ways to cut back on expenses. Are you going out to eat all the time as opposed to making food at home? That's a big one. My brother, I always poke fun at him because he loves buying food. That's like his entertainment. When he's off work, instead of making food at home, he likes going out with his friends, going out to eat. But he even told me it adds up. It does add up over time. When you go out to eat, minimum an entree is like $20 around here. A drink is like $15, and then if you have a dessert or you have a couple of drinks with your friends, whatever, it's easily like $100 plus easily when you go out. So it does add up. And if you do that over once a week, say you do it over a course of a weekend, over a course of a month, it adds up significantly. So you got to track your expenses here, right? It takes some work, but this is how you become a smarter investor and more aware of what's going on, right? The issue I see with crypto investors right now is they're investing with money they can't afford to lose, whether it's their rent money, their car payment, their kids' tuition fund, and the panic comes when their crypto assets go down like 10, 20% in a day, which is very likely for crypto. They're freaking out because it's money they can't afford to lose. This is why I say if you're going to invest, the best case scenario is it should be your overtime money or the side hustle money or whatever you cut back on for expenses, because this is money technically you're not supposed to have, right? Versus if you're just taking from your savings account and it's money you really don't want to invest with, but you kind of just say, oh, okay, I have money here, put it in the market. That's where you become more of a scared paper hand investor, because oftentimes when, crap happens in life, like say your car breaks down, you need $3,000, or your rent gets increased, or I don't know, your partner moves out of your apartment, all of a sudden you need money fast. And what are you going to do? you're going to pull from your portfolio. You're going to pull from your cryptos. I've seen this many times. I had a person at my job. He bought Bitcoin at $2,000. He had a Bitcoin and a half at $2,000. He sold it one day. And I'm like, what the hell were you doing? He's like, oh, I needed it for my car. I had to get a new car. And I'm like, okay, he's constantly flip-flopping. Then he bought Cardano with it, which was a horrible trade. Then he bought Crowcoin with it. And I'm pretty sure he's not even holding Crowcoin anymore. So, and if he is, it's definitely down a lot more than Bitcoin. So mistakes can be made, but you have to put yourself in a good environment to not make these same mistakes, right? So when I invest into the market, I have no temptation to just pull my profits out. I make sure in my everyday life here, I have a safety net when it comes to my income. Like if I were to get laid off from my job, unexpectedly, which happened in COVID, by the way, not to me, but my father got laid off. I'm not freaking out having to, figure out what I'm going to do. So this is something you have to really have discipline with. If you're, right now living check to check, you definitely got to get your income up first before you even think about investing. Remember, investing should always be a side thing you do. It shouldn't be like, every single check you're making at work, you're just putting it all into the market if you don't have that safety net first. By the way, leave a like if you guys like videos like this. Even if you're not a beginner investor, even if you're experienced and you want to be just a better investor in 2024, these tips will help you guys, because I'm telling you guys right now, I expect these discounts to carry on into 2024, even with the Bitcoin halving. Maybe we'll see rallies here and there, but for the most part, I don't see a bull market taking place until late 2024, early 2025. So if you made some mistakes this year, last year, or a few years ago, right, you can implement these steps into now, 2024, and set yourself up to make more profits in 2025. So I really hope these videos are helping you guys. But yeah, so that being said, make sure you have a plan in place. Make sure you have a safety net. Determine how much income you want to put into the market each month. Then determine how many cryptos you want to hold, okay? So this is relevant to how much you're putting into the market. If you're only putting $100 per month into the market, you don't want to hold 20 plus cryptos, and you probably don't want to hold Bitcoin, because you're not going to make a crazy gain on Bitcoin with $100 per month. Let's be honest here, you're not. For Bitcoin to make a lot of money, you oftentimes got to be putting in thousands per month at discounts like this to make a lot of money in the bull cycle. So this is where you got to do your research now, right? Anytime you invest into an altcoin, no matter what altcoin it is, it always carries more risk than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the most trusted, the most widely adopted. Its consensus is second to none. Proof of work is truly decentralized. And that's the whole point of crypto, by the way. It's to be decentralized, different than stocks. Stocks are companies and thus securities. Cryptos, although we see some back and forth with which one's a commodity and security, they're essentially different asset classes. And Bitcoin is already the proven one to be a commodity. Caspa as well, but Caspa doesn't have that recognition yet to be on the same level as Bitcoin yet, as bullish as I am on Caspa. But now you got to figure out, okay, which niches do I want to be in? For my preference, I think layer ones are the best niche to look at first, because I think layer ones are going to have the most bullish price action this bull cycle, like previous bull cycles. And then from there, you can be a little picky, right? Some investors just invest into layer ones. They hold, like, let's just say Caspa, Ethereum, and I don't know, Cardano, HBAR, and that's it. Some invest into only layer ones, and that's fine. It's up to you. Like I said, it's up to you. If you only want to invest into a few cryptos and you don't want to find some like Web3 crypto or some metaverse player or some blockchain gaming, you just want to invest into layer ones, totally fine. But it has to be your own decision, right? And if you want to invest into only ISO cryptos, I know some investors do that as well. They only invest into XRP, XLM, Quant, whatever. That's fine too. So this is where I prefer looking for utility plays, right? If the crypto in question doesn't have utility, then you're just looking at it from a supply and demand standpoint. What's going to bring that price up? If it's not going to be institutional adoption or retail adoption, is it going to be FOMO? This is where meme coins come in, right? Meme coins have no intrinsic value, no utility. What pumps them up? Hype and a community and exposure and marketing. So this is where you got to look at your different plays, right? If it doesn't have utility, question why would it be a good investment? If you can see something that we don't see, then by all means follow your instinct, right? But that's why I say not every altcoin is created equal. So a good start is layer ones, ISO, layer twos, blockchain gaming, Web3, although those are going to take time. But I think layer ones, ISO, layer twos, and interoperability are the best cryptos to be looking at right now, in my opinion. You also want to check the charts, right? the week, the month, the year, the all chart. You want to see how your crypto has been performing. But do take some of the charts with a grain of salt. Sometimes the charts don't always reflect what's going on behind the scenes with a crypto. So you always got to check the charts in with your research, in conjunction with the research, but don't make them the basis for your entire bullishness or bearishness for a crypto. They play a factor for sure, but if it's a new crypto and all you see is like this, and it just came out, 2 weeks ago, or maybe it came out like a few months ago, it had a rally, then it had a dump, you're not really going to get a good evaluation because it's so early on that it's hard to really pinpoint what's going to happen in the future. So you want to take all these things in consideration, right? When you're researching, you want to look at everything because you're trying to be a visionary. What can scale the market? What can get us towards mass adoption of crypto? What can be used to a high extent someday? This is why I'm bullish on layer ones, ISO, and all that, because layer ones, I feel, are going to be the main blockchains to be used in the future. Whether it's transactional volume, NFTs, smart contracts, dApps, blockchain gaming, they all do it on blockchains, layer ones. And then ISO, to me, is the main utility for banks, enterprises, right? To get on board with crypto, which I know people don't like that. They don't like all these centralized banks and influencers having the power. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we think. It's what the market thinks, right? It's what they think. They hold the power and money, and thus they control what happens. So when it comes to utility with that, that's where ISO coins come in. And then Web3 all comes down to you, right? Do you think we're going to see a more decentralized web in the future? Do you think blockchain gaming is going to be popular like, PlayStation, Xbox, So this is where you got to do more of your research and use your logic here and figure out, okay, what can I get into early, or maybe what should I stay away from? Like personally, I haven't invested into AI. I don't think AI is too bullish for the market. I just don't see how AI is going to be integrated with blockchain. I am bullish on Render, but I'm not bullish enough on it to want to add to my portfolio. And I said in my last live stream, so you're going to find stuff for you that you don't like, don't want to get into. So I know some people who follow me don't like meme coins, and that's totally fine. Also, I have some people who follow me who don't like ISO coins or don't like layer twos. All they invest into is like, Bitcoin or layer ones or whatever. So it's all individual to you. And also understand when you're doing your research, if you're following me or other YouTubers, you're always going to see two opinions, no matter what. So always base the foundation of your conviction on your research, not just what I say or anyone else says, because the minute you start basing your conviction on different opinions is the minute you become a paper hand investor, essentially a sheep, and you're just constantly flip-flopping and ruining your potential of becoming financially free. I've seen it happen many times. I'm seeing it happen now. That's why I created my Patreon and Discord. By the way, if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the pinned comments down below. Every investor there is their own shark, their own independent person, and we all have different picks. Nobody there just blindly copies me, and that's why I love the community there. So if you're interested, if you want to run your portfolio by me, if you just want to see what I'm buying, selling, trading, or just talk to me and ask me questions, would love to see you there. But that being said, yes, I think these are great principles to get you started, prepared for 2024. Whether you're a new investor trying to get your feet wet and set yourself up for late 2025, or an experienced investor who has made mistakes and wants to get better in 2024. I think these tips will help you out a lot in this video. This video wasn't planned and I didn't have a script, so I'm sorry if I was all over the place, but I really hope I covered most of the bases. If I didn't, just let me know down below in the comments. If you guys want to see more videos like this as well, also let me know down below. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Really helps so much. That being said, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.